of the Citizens Independent Transportation Trust, or CITT for short. We're a quasi-independent agency of Miami-Dade County charged with overseeing your half-penny sales tax for transportation. So we've now gotten, believe it or not, Mr. Mayor, over 100 episodes under our belt. And several of those episodes we've welcomed municipal officials. And I know we've had you on before, so thank you for coming back.
My pleasure.
Folks, please welcome to the program the Mayor of South Miami, Javier Fernandez.
It's a pleasure with you, Javier.
Welcome, Mr. Mayor. Welcome back, I should say.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
And I know you had a long commute to these studios.
Very long commute. Yeah.
For those who don't know, these studios here at Miami's community newspapers are located in the city of South Miami.
Yeah, so literally less than a mile from my house. So
that's nice. So you walked here, right?
I did not, because I take my son to summer camp this morning, so dropped him off and then doubled back here from the Grove. So
life is complicated.
It's okay. It works.
So how many years have you been mayor now?
Since November 22, so we're closing in on 4 years this November.
4 years, but it feels more like...
It feels like a lifetime in some ways. Yeah. No, I was reflecting. My kids turned 18 and 16 today, so we'll be celebrating this evening. And I was thinking about how quickly the last 8 years have passed since I've started this kind of venture into public life.
Wait, did you say both 16 and 18 today? They both have the same birthday?
Yeah, same birthday. Yeah.
Look at that.
And
happy birthday, guys!
Thank you. Yeah, happy birthday, Lucas and Susanna, if you happen to be watching this. So they both turn 18 and 16 today. Share the same birthday, unplanned.
That's
just
fun.
Happened naturally. And in the oddest of symmetries, it's 2 weeks after my wife's birthday and 2 weeks the day before mine. So
look at that. This is a busy 30 days.
Busy 30 days for sure.
Yeah, we're similar. I have twins, so of course they share a birthday.
Yeah, of course.
But it's unusual for kids of different ages. My brother and I are 1 day apart.
Yeah, well, my brothers as well. They're June 26th. I'm June 25th. So we have that connection as well.
Well, happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
And happy Father's Day, whatever.
Happy Father's Day to anybody watching
Merry
as well.
Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
No one knows when this is aired.
Happy Kwanzaa, yeah.
Happy Kwanzaa. So, Mr. Mayor, for those who maybe are not familiar with the city of South Miami, describe it briefly. Like, where is it? How big is it?
Yeah, so if you've seen our map, our municipal boundaries are a little challenged, particularly on the north end of the city, but roughly Bird Road to Kendall Drive, 57th to the Ludlam Trail. So that's roughly our boundaries. It tucks in and out. We've got a lot of gaps in the north end of South Miami, given some unique history around de-annexation.
Yeah, it's very pixelated up there.
It is, absolutely. We've got some blocks. We have one house that's in the city, and the balance of the block is unincorporated Dade County. So it makes for some service challenges, and hopefully we're having some success with conversation with neighbors, getting to consider annexing in. So we've got one neighborhood, Biltmore Heights, that is actively marshaling their own campaign to approach us about coming into South Miami. So knock on wood, maybe that'll happen here the next year.
Well, and I'll tell you, and I know some people who live in that area and unincorporated. In the past, I would ask them about their feelings, and they were like, well, we don't part of that city. They're crazy over there. And historically, the city, had some interesting
It's been a little bit more
dynamics.
volatile, yeah.
But I would say under your leadership, it's really stabilized, and it's got a great reputation now, and really the city is taking off in more ways than one, and maybe we'll talk about that now. So
sure.
I know there are a lot of major development projects, transformational projects kind of underway. What are some of those?
Wow, so many. And first, thank you for the compliment. Sure. We've been working hard to be predictable for our residents and folks in the investment community as well. So, but yeah, look, the one project I get asked about every single day, you can imagine, is Sunset Place. Yeah. And so, not to steal their thunder, but October 4th, which is an important day in the life of the sponsor, they'll be starting demolition on that project. So we are now wrapping up final approval of their CDD and a CRA that in part will also help finance infrastructure for that project. We were working on a City Hall project.
What is that going to be ultimately? So they're knocking down part of it, right? Not the
they're not actually. Eventually, all of it. Okay. But they've got AMC that anchors. Mm-hmm. If you've seen the property from an aerial, it's almost built like a U. Very apropos given its nexus with UM next door. But that U is the theaters, and so the full 26 screens that are there today. So they've got under their lease agreements, I understand it, a notice period. So that'll happen. The northern part of the property will be demolished first. The southern portion of the property to follow.
And what's coming in its place?
Gosh, it's a mixed-use community, really. About 150,000 square feet of retail will be in personal services space. A hotel, hopefully with conference facilities. I've been very keen on that, so we can kind of leverage some of the activity from UM and bring a more transient business for daytime, midweek activity. conferences, academic-related events to that facility, as well as other special occasions people could celebrate or galas, et cetera. So hotel, conference center facilities, multifamily rental. I think there'll probably be 2 phases of condominium. But most importantly, a lot of public space, right? That'll kind of be a focal point of that new community, and enhanced street connectivity, because one of the biggest problems that project has had historically, it's almost a fortress unto itself and never really played well with its neighbors to our east in Coral Gables on Red Road. And so really it'll be, I think, a transformational gateway property, which is what we want.
So you're expecting more of the traditional grid system?
Absolutely.
It's more like Plaza Coral Gables.
Exactly,
right?
where we kind of reconnect it to both our town center, or now SoMe District as we've rebranded it, and portions east of Coral Gables.
Excellent.
And then on the west side, the other big kind of signature project is our City Hall redevelopment, which will have multifamily, new facilities for city and fire, but more importantly for me, a brand new civic space on the underline, which is about 35,000 square feet, with a new library, which is a really underappreciated but very highly utilized amenity that we have here in South Miami. So those are just 2 of the many projects. Loads of student housing units coming online. We've got the roadway in that's being demolished today if you want to drive by. That is a big thing for us because it's probably the biggest generator, had been the biggest generator of service calls, police service calls in the city, over 210 a year, which is a lot. And a lot of negative activity around sex trafficking that we are working with the state attorney's office there to combat regularly. So that is coming down and being replaced with a really positive use. We've got a new multifamily building across the street from City Hall being built by Maestra. And what else can I tell you about? A new orthopedic rehab center that's being finalized right now on the northwest corner of 62nd and Sunset. So all in all, just a lot of stuff happening. I would expect right now, I think the numbers we last checked, 1,800 units that are in development, plus probably another 1,500 student housing beds. So lots of activity. It's helping position us very well for the uncertainty that may be forthcoming with property tax reform.
Right.
So, we've had a mandate from the citizens of South Miami to grow the city in this area next to transit, apropos for our discussion.
Yeah.
And we're trying to execute on that as best we can.
Great segue. Thank you for setting me up. So as an urban planner, of course, I understand and appreciate the need for development and vertical development, especially around transit. But of course, the flip side of that is it often brings transportation impacts, right? We're already congested, US 1 in particular.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure you've given a lot of thought as to how to mitigate those impacts, both with our optimizing our existing infrastructure, i.e. getting people onto Metro Rail, onto the underline.
Sure.
And then your own city services. So tell us how the city is positioned from a transportation standpoint to both serve its existing residents and help to mitigate some of the impacts from that development.
So look, I think transportation is a challenge, right? And to kind of give the viewers some context, I mean, we are operating under a series of mandates, right, as a city. So we no longer have the autonomy we had 25 years ago to just resist development, right? So from Live Local to the RTZ, which in South Miami we've seen it, proliferate a little bit, but not nearly as aggressively as some other communities. To now, property tax reform becoming just another pressure to unlock development opportunities. So, whether it's monetizing our own assets or having the private sector, really enhance value on their sites, we've got to figure out a way to navigate those conflicting mandates and still not create a situation where we're, eroding the quality of life for the residents of the city, pleasant living. Now, I think we are better positioned than most because we do have a transit station that anchors our town center. We've been, as I tell people, some of the height I don't like personally, but it's a byproduct of not having done things for 25 years. Had we locked in some economic value before, right, it'd be very hard to destroy it today to replace it with some of the new projects that are coming online. So look, we're taking all that and we're trying to make, lemonade out of whatever, if you want to call them lemons. I'm not sure they're lemons, but maybe it's the only analogy I can think of at the moment. And trying to, create what is a town center. So we've been working really aggressively with, our city council, our mayor, our city attorney, our city manager, our city sponsors to talk about creating more public spaces. I've been in deep conversation with the Wirtz family in Chicago that owns 5 acres. It's they used to own the former First National Bank of South Miami. So that surface parking lot that's kind of in the center of our town center, they own it, 80,000 square feet. We're trying to create a public space there, right? That's been kind of a natural gathering center. Why do I mention that in the context of transit? Well, we want to kind of pedestrianize our town center and make it much more friendly for people to walk around as we urbanize it. And so we've worked on a master plan to kind of remake our streetscape to make that more pedestrian friendly. We have certainly tried to embrace the development mandate the county has around transit so that we can leverage that incredible asset that we have, which frankly no one else in South Dade has in terms of other incorporated cities, to grow and connect to the rest of our region. I think where we're challenged is the kind of intercity mobility, right? We as a recipient of CITT do get, some funding, but it's really hard to run a robust kind of system with the amount of money that we get. We're kind of working with you all and others on, I forget the name of the specialized area plan, and talking to Coral Gables about possibly linking their trolley to South Miami. But I think the biggest challenge we have is the lack of consistency at the county level around their direction on transit. We had, in an effort to kind of leverage the buying power the county created with Metro Connect, kind of, really attached our star to that program. And so we're spending our CITT resources to expand that service in South Miami. We thought it was a very good one. But the introduction of the now fare charge on those trips and the reduced service footprint really has reduced ridership. Right. So that's a challenge we're trying to navigate now and figure out where we pivot. Do we continue with that program? Do we abandon
still currently
it?
With
we still are.
We've
sent them a notice of default, frankly, because under our contract, the rate change was not something we authorized, but was evolved. Again, I understand why they did it. It's not an acrimonious relationship. It's a very positive relationship. But we're reevaluating whether it still works for us in terms of accomplishing our strategic goals. But in the realm of things we can't control, one of the things we're trying to do is reduce congestion around automobiles. So just this past Tuesday, we had a conversation about leveraging technology to help people that are already coming to South Miami and using their parking apps to park within our inventory, both on street and in our garage, a way to have real-time data around where there's availability. So we reduce the congestion around circling. People always try to get that last space in front of the retail establishment or restaurant they're trying to do. We're trying to help kind of guide them to available inventory. So we're talking with the providers like Joppa, just another parking app, or UpCity, which has a partnership with Park Mobile, to see how we can kind of leverage the Park Mobile app and that consumer base to get people parked more easily in South Miami and reduce some of the friction that obviously hurts economic development and quality of life here in South Miami.
Though I have to tell you, so I don't live far from South Miami. So we come here a lot. I like Pub 52. Karaoke nights are always fun on Thursdays. You can find me there, me and 3 other people, singing our hearts out.
Okay, it's fun. It's fun.
Hey, I prefer it. I get more turns at the mic.
They've got a good Western night as well on occasion.
Yeah, we got Kasakua, of course, for all of community news, many events there. I never have a hard time with parking, even on the street. So, I mean, relative to other places in South Florida, honestly.
But not Caesar.
I think it's pretty hobby.
The truth is that's a perception, right?
Yeah.
And so we, politics is a perception business as much as anything else. And we want people to understand that it's easy to frequent our restaurants, our shops.
Right.
And so where we can, increase access to information that leads to convenience, we're trying to do that, right?
Now, you mentioned the transit station. So South Miami, Metro Rail Station, which is an enormous asset, of course. I mean,
Huge.
Other communities would kill to have that.
Huge.
And yet you have this thing called US 1. It's highway, essentially running between that station and your downtown. How much is that a factor, and people maybe not using that as much as they should, and what can be done about that? And there are pros and cons to pedestrian bridges, but have you explored things like that? Are you relying on that Metro Connect?
Just setting up softballs for me to
freebie
hit out
type
of the park
service
here
to kind of connect? What are you doing there?
Yeah, so lots of things. One is, first, we got to fix the at-grade connections. And I will tell you, even today, where they're not perfect, I regularly cross from City Hall on the west side, US 1 at Sunset, to the east side, and it's not that big an expanse. I mean, it feels more intimidating than it actually is at the intersection. But we've got to enhance that and again, fight that perception. I think we need to kind of improve, and we're working on improving capacity and both in terms of crossing and throughput for vehicles at some key intersections. So Red Road, Sunset Drive, 80th Street, 62nd Avenue are probably the four major intersections where we have a lot of conflicts today. We're looking at enforcement strategies. So using technology, the hated red light cameras. We're talking to providers about at least getting traffic counts for people blocking the box, which is a huge a huge problem at intersections.
Yes.
Both in terms of vehicle capacity and pedestrian connectivity. So we want to monitor that for a year and maybe take it to the legislature once we have hard data to say, can we use these for enforcement? Not that we want to, but when you think about it, if we rolled out an officer to issue tickets, we're going to take a lane of capacity off of that intersection, which helps no one who's commuting.
Makes a bad situation worse.
Makes it a lot worse. So technology there can be a solution. Physical improvements at grade. We are working actively on getting a CRA, as I mentioned, authorized for South Miami. Part of our bargain with the county there is we're going to focus on infrastructure. Part of that infrastructure is enhancing transit-related infrastructure. So I'd like to climatize our transit station platform in part, right? Because I think part of the user experience there, as someone who's worked as a professional into downtown Miami, is being on a suit.
It's brutal in the
It's
summer.
brutal in the summer. Brutal.
Those fans
you get
don't do
wind
much.
or rain, right? And those fans really don't help. So he's climatizing a portion, creating some connectivity to the east side of downtown, so you don't have to go through the garage or the closest to the garage portions to kind of access the station. And then certainly we had, believe it or not, about when I came into office, inherited a fully designed pedestrian bridge plan with no plan to finance it. So hopefully this year will provide us that opportunity. We can pivot back to that as an opportunity.
So you are pro-bridge.
Look, I'm pro doing everything, right? Giving people options. Sure. And so there's some people that will be comfortable crossing at grade and do it naturally now. I'm one of those people. We want to create an at-grade connection on 73rd. Again, if you leave our downtown heading westbound to go southbound on US 1, you're making a left turn off of 73rd. Your terminal vista is our City Hall campus. We're going to have a park there, some retail. Right now, I cross at grade to get to Noe there illegally. I think we should add another at-grade crossing at that intersection. So we're looking at all those options and trying to roll those out to kind of just enhance connectivity in any form that we can.
So along with having the benefit of Metro, you also now have the benefit of the Underline, which of course is this, I believe it's a 10-mile linear park.
10 miles, absolutely.
Yeah, and bike ped path, which, they've done a great job promoting the program or the project. So I don't think we need to tell everybody about it. But, how is the city looking to, first of all, I believe you've contributed toward that. So you can speak to that. And then how are you looking to leverage that once it's open? I don't think your segment is open yet, right? It will be.
It's very shortly. Yes, sir. So
how are you going to get folks who are maybe want to get there or from there to your downtown? Are you looking at some bicycle pedestrian lanes or that kind of bike ped connections beyond just walking?
So so let me start with look, it's a huge opportunity. Yeah. I have clients that are developing along the Atlanta Beltline. Mm-hmm. And, in my heart of hearts, what I'd love to see is an activation like Lady Bird, which is a bar there in Atlanta that's very popular and outdoor area. It allows you to take advantage of the best parts in Atlanta of the summer and spring months to kind of enjoy a beverage outside. So we're hoping to create that opportunity and be a destination on the Underline. There's not a lot of destination opportunities on the Underline today, I would say, in terms of parks or convening spaces. So our City Hall campus project is designed with that opportunity in mind. Right. That taking an existing park and relocating it from, it's a very nice little park, but kind of an isolated, forlorn condition next to our gas depot at City Hall, and moving it into a more prominent location, visible from US 1, from our SoMe district on the east side, adjacent to the Underline and the Children's Play Forest. Right, is kind of the vision we're trying to advance, because and then lining it with retail. As we were working on designing our City Hall campus and the two private elements of that project, which will be, two multifamily buildings with ground floor commercial, relating both to Sunset Drive and this park space. I was very keen on making sure that was functional retail, so we can get an activation like the one I just mentioned adjacent to the park. Because I think there is that opportunity to kind of have an aggregating effect on the west side for South Miami and using the underline as a vehicle for people to come there, right? You have a nice 10-mile ride with your family and kids. You can stop at a children's play forest, at the library, enjoy a meal and a beverage, and kind of spend a part of your day recreating that way. We are contributing to the maintenance. We did not contribute as a city to the capital side of the program. I am concerned about our ability as a community to finance the maintenance long term. From our perspective, it's one of the things that we are authorizing as part of our CRA, so that there is a recurring source of the life of that agency to fund the mile that's in South Miami. But so beyond that one park at City Hall, we did also actually buy a small pocket park lot on 80th and US 1 adjacent to the underline. That's another, hopefully, underline activation that we're thinking of advancing as well. If we can be a city of parks as well on the underline, we think that would be kind of a great way for us to contribute to hopefully its future success. But I think it's a huge asset for our community.
Yeah, and listen, a lot of people are going to be biking on it. The city already has a great reputation for being welcoming to cyclists. You have Max Cycle, which is
and Bike Tech, which is just technically outside the city, but right.
Yeah. Let's not leave anybody out.
Yeah. Although Max Cycle, got to check it out. It's our favorite.
Absolutely, that's where I bought mine. And so, how are you connecting? I guess not just the underline, but the entire city. I guess with bike facilities and bike infrastructure.
We have, and look, we've been advancing projects. We had one opportunity that we were hoping to explore and already have designed was going from the Pinecrest Parkway on Kendall Drive that goes to point south. It has a kind of segregated pedestrian and bike path there, and connecting that up through Red Road to the underline. Senator Alexis Claudiude, thankfully was able to procure an appropriation. Unfortunately, it got vetoed 2 budgets ago. It's not really kind of found its way back into the budget again. But those are opportunities that we'll continue to explore because we want to leverage those existing points of connection and create additional connectivity back to the underline. On 64th Street, we have kind of the first segment of an east-west connection with Red Road that's been developed at least through 62nd Avenue. We are currently studying through a grant, taking that connection all the way to the Ludlam Trail. And then certainly where we have opportunities right now on a joint venture we're exploring with the school board, where we want to kind of incorporate their recreational components of their campuses adjacent to our city parks as an extension of that park programming and invest heavily in those capital facilities. If we have the opportunity here, depending on what happens in November, begin also developing segments of the Ludlam Trail. So one of the first segments that I know my colleague Commissioner Kaye and I are very focused on, with Commissioner Kaye leading it in conversations with County Commissioner Natalie Orbis, is taking that portion that's adjacent to Palmer Park in South Miami K-8 and building that section of the Ludlam Trail out so we can actually expand the VITA course and that pedestrian recreational amenity in that neighborhood. So, we are focused on as much as we can within the limits of our budget and, the reach of our jurisdiction, trying to leverage those pedestrian and bike connections where we can, because we see them as a huge enhancement to South Miami.
And so we've talked about 2 legs of the 3-legged stool. So I tend to think of placemaking from 3 perspectives, right? You have land use, of course, transportation. The third is economic development. And I know that economic development has been a focus of yours. I mean, we've talked about it with respect to all the development that's coming. But you're really keen on revitalizing or energizing or activating downtown. What are some of the things the city is doing and it's already happening. I could see it in the times I come over. But there's still so much more potential that I know you see as well. So what are some of the things outside of just, being friendlier to attract investment and some of the mobility things we talked about? What else is going on to attract business and attract people to those businesses?
Yeah, so as you know, our levers on the economic development side from an incentive perspective are pretty limited. Right. So the best thing we can do is be predictable, number one, and secondly, be a partner. And so, we've kind of marshaled our rules and we've kind of said to the market, here's what we want. And if you're operating within these rules, we're going to try to make it very easy for you to come into South Miami and do business. And so we've had a lot of success with, restaurants in particular have a very hard time opening in this marketplace. Recently we're just welcomed La Traila Barbecue, which is just doing great business there. And, the most rewarding part of the work that we are accomplishing is hearing from new users like that just how easy it was for them to kind of get through our permitting process and get open, because in other jurisdictions it takes years.
So you have like an expedited permitting, or what do you?
Yeah, I think one of the virtues is our size. We're small, and so there's not a lot of places for staff to hide, and our staff isn't hiding. They're proactively out there trying to work with people to get them into their spaces, because the worst thing we can have are empty spaces in our town, in our SoMe district, in terms of marketing. But beyond that, we've really tried to up our game on the social media front, invested very heavily in kind of marketing our businesses. This summer we will be launching our own kind of Miami Spice Taste of SoMe program. We've been working with longstanding owners, like the team at Kitchen 57, previously Town, there to kind of launch. Michael and his team kind of birthed the idea, and we've now brought in a whole host of not only restaurants but also shops to promote the retail offerings that we have here in South Miami. Our goal initially was to kind of make sure that we were growing in this transition, with construction and development, comes friction. Make sure that those businesses that invested early, right, had the support of the city to kind of weather that transition. And so that's kind of been the immediate focus. We've commissioned a town center advisory board that kind of talked through some strategies and things we could do to kind of better market the district as well. Hopefully I was talking with Mel at La Trilla yesterday. I was having lunch at the bar about maybe a barbecue festival, right? Bourbon and barbecue would be something that, I know my city manager and I would love to do.
Both of those things.
Both those things are great in combination. So, we haven't cornered the market on ideas. If anyone has a great idea, we're open to it. But, the big focus has been working on making life easier for new entrants, for people who are here, promoting what they're doing already. We have the good fortune of having the Rotary Club of South Miami, which does a fantastic job with our arts festival, and we could not afford to pay someone the amount of time that 5 or 6 volunteers invest in putting that festival together. So we try to be kind to our partners, maybe in contrast to some prior administrations that were, I don't think unkind, but probably a little bit less supportive.
Well, again, as someone who frequents the downtown, I always have a great experience there. The parking is easy. You have some great restaurants and other activities. So I love it. I'm looking forward to seeing what Sunset Place becomes, because, it's kind of a sad, fortress, as you called it.
It is.
But even then, I take my kids to game time or to the movies there. So, I even go there.
Yeah. And I think, again, I preach patience. We'll get started hopefully this year, but it'll be a little bit before we get to enjoy some of the new offerings. But I think there's certainly a bright future ahead for that property.
Absolutely.
For sure.
So in a couple of minutes we have left, let's shift gears quickly to resiliency. So the city also has a great reputation for being a leader in sustainability and resiliency, and you could speak to some of that history, but what are some of the current initiatives underway in the city? Yeah,
so Tuesday we enacted a whole new regime of sustainability standards. We have, Phil Stoddard, our former mayor, to his credit, was able to author a solar mandate. That has not sat well with everyone, but I think it was very forward-looking and something that I'm glad we have in place. So as we've talked about what else we can do to enhance sustainability, I've kind of had this idea we should go back to the past. A lot of the design principles that kind of were a hallmark of building here in South Florida before the advent of air conditioning and all the mechanized systems that we depend on now so heavily to make our environment one that's tolerable, right, given the heat, have created, have really changed the way we build. And you see more glass and, less natural passive shading devices. So the regulations we've advanced for single-family homes as of Tuesday really create a suite of incentives to expand landscaping, expand passive cooling systems, porches, windows that are protected by shading devices, kind of, organization of your home. So you have your garage on the west side of the property, on an a north-facing or south-facing lot. So it's, the habitable rooms are cooled naturally as obviously the sun makes its way across the sky every single day. So we've kind of gone back to those first principles and articulated a series of rules that you can take advantage of as an alternative to the solar ordinance. The goal is to just reduce consumption, energy consumption generally. Right. And so whether you do that by incorporating panels, which I think is a great solution, or you want to do something that's more design focused, now in South Miami, you have those options as well.
And of course, getting people out of cars and onto transit and onto bikes and onto their 2 feet, right?
Yeah, what we talked about
Nothing
before.
more resilient than that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Mr. Mayor, we're out of time, but I'm going to give you the last word. And as part of that, if you want to let the good folks watching know where they can find out more about the city and all these great
Yeah, you can certainly check out our website at southmiami.fl.gov. And if you need to contact me, my cell phone is on the city's website there as well. So feel free to text. We got a staff of none, so I have one for 5 of us. So often helps to have people just communicate, and people are honestly very respectful. I'm surprised I don't get more calls. But again, if we can be of service, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Well, Mr. Mayor, thank you for being on the program. Thank you for all the great work you're
My
doing
pleasure.
at the city. We didn't even get to what you do in your private life. We'll have to have you back on for that. But really, the city is in great hands. I've witnessed it from just outside city limits. And I have to give you a lot of credit and your team. You have a great team of professionals.
It really is a team. And as much as I appreciate the credit, the truth is we've got a council that works as one, and I'm grateful they make the service fun, and I'm grateful to have the honor to do it.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Folks, thank you for being here with us today. If you like this program, please like it, subscribe, share it with friends and family, let them know. We have some great guests lined up, and we have, over 100 episodes in the past that you could go back and watch. I also want to thank our partners in this endeavor, a South Miami institution.
Absolutely.
Miami's community newspapers for continuing to produce and host us here in these lovely studios. Special thanks to Enzoni back there behind the cameras for being our producer today. Please go on our website if you'd like to learn more about us, miamidade.gov/CITT. You can learn about all the initiatives that are being funded with your half-penny sales tax for transportation. You can learn about how to become a CITT member and or a CITT ambassador if you're a transit rider, plus all the other things we have going on. That is all for us.